Hi and welcome back to episode 2 of our sex and relationship series here on Limitless TV. My name's Nadine and I'm hosting us through the series, and I'm so excited to be joined by some of my truly inspiring friends. A quick game of fill in the missing line. We've got some quotes by some famous people all about relationships, and we're going to see if my friends here can guess what the missing word is. If you're watching with some friends or with your youth group, feel free to pause it and try and play along yourselves. So the first quote is by the one and only Khloe Kardashian, and she says this: "I think being single is really blank for people." What is the blank?
Boring.
Boring.
Great.
Convincing
Quickly,
answer.
Sophie.
Are you sure?
Convincing.
Yeah, great.
So,
I'd probably say frustrating.
okay.
Oh, why are we
Okay.
going frustrated?
I don't know, because I feel like you just got twisted.
Okay.
Spice it up.
Freeing.
Oh,
Freeing.
good.
Okay, we've definitely not hit it. Anyone else want another go before I say the answer?
Expensive.
Oh, I like it. No more?
Great.
Chloe says, "I think being single is really healthy for people."
Oh, that
That's
makes so much
a good
sense.
one.
Okay,
She's
quote.
like Yoda, isn't she?
Okay, quote number 2 by Oscar Wilde,
Oh,
and it
hello.
says this: "True friends stab blank. True friends stab blank." What do true friends stab?
Eyes.
Oh, true friends stab eyes.
Lies.
Oh,
that's
I like
a
that.
good
That is a
one.
good
Is
one.
it?
Why not?
It's not the answer, but it's a
Just
good one.
rhymes. Just rhymes.
Stab you once.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure actually. Stab you once. Once only.
True friends. Stab you.
Please don't end that. Please don't end that right there.
Really
Don't end that.
inspirational quote there.
I
True
was trying to
friends.
say something about like how true friends will like hurt you to help you,
Oh.
but I couldn't make that work with the word stab.
Stab you to help you.
Yeah, but
That was
Oh.
gonna be that.
I have another one. True friends stab your ego.
Oh, see that is
Yes,
a good one.
that
That
is
is
a
a
good
good
one.
one.
You
You're
might
on
change the
fire.
quote. That wins. That is good. Okay, well, Sophie, you won the last round. This round I'm going to give it to Gareth.
Oh,
but
okay.
the actual quote is: "True friends stab you in the front."
Ah, okay.
Oh, yes.
Which
That's
makes
what I was
sense.
trying to
It
say,
makes
yeah.
sense. It
Just-
does make
That's why you
sense.
leave it to Oscar Wilde.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have now for some incredible quotes. So we're going to move on to our content for this episode. When it comes to relationships, so many of us struggle and we go through so much pain and heartbreak because we don't know what God actually says about them. And we really believe that we want you to win at relationships, but also God wants you to win at your relationships. And so therefore, we're going to look into the Bible and find out what has God written down for us, because He's so committed to you actually knowing the truth that you can read it for yourself, because He didn't want His truth to get diluted, distorted, or even disregarded, that He wrote it down pen to paper so that you can read it. And so we're going to unpack a little bit of it now, all about the topic of singleness. You see, singleness was often seen as a season of waiting, and sometimes even referred to as waiting on God. We're waiting on God to bring that person along. But actually, I want to propose to you today that singleness is not a time of us waiting on God, but of us working on ourselves. You see, even if you're not single, this episode is for you, because we should all be constantly working on ourselves. In the Bible, in the book of Matthew, it says this in chapter 22, verses 36 to 39. It says, "Which is the most important commandment in the law of Moses?" Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. A second is equally important. Love your neighbour as yourself." You see, the key to a successful life is about learning to love God, learning to love yourself, so that from that you can then go and love others. See, God isn't just loving, He as a person, as Himself, is love. So therefore, for us to learn what it means to love, to be able to fulfill that call to love ourselves and to love others, we have to know who God is. You see, our success and our satisfaction can never come from the validation of anyone else. Our goal can never be a relationship, because your success, your call to love God and to love others, can be done regardless of your relationship status. And so often we get so consumed with desiring a partner and wanting to be with someone that we actually need to take a step back and realize we just need a purpose. Maybe what God's asking you to have isn't a romantic relationship, but to get into some real community. An opportunity to learn to love God, to love yourself, and to love others. Now, don't hear what we're not saying. It's not wrong to desire a relationship, but it can't come from a place of loneliness. It has to come from a place of love. It has to come from a place of security in who God is and who God says you are. So I'm going to ask some of my friends now to share some of their wisdom on this topic. And so I'm going to go straight to Amy. So Amy, do you think you can be happy and single?
Absolutely. I think a lot of the time, as you kind of mentioned, we see it as like a lonely waiting period. And so all of a sudden it's like I don't want to be single because I'm just going to be sad and lonely all the time. But actually, it can be one of the most exciting, fruitful, fun times of your life is when you get to have that time to work on yourself, to really invest in your friendships, dig into community, give your all wherever you are. So I think, you can absolutely be happy and single.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah.
And
I would just to kind of jump in as well, and I think what Amy's saying is it's not that it's not hard, because if we look at kind of society, romantic relationships, they're really they're romanticized, they're like the ideal, but the fact is that in the Bible it's friendship that is the most spoken about. If you think about Jesus and his disciples, Paul and Timothy, there's so many people in the Bible who have intimate friendships that aren't romantic ones, and I think that is just so important to remember, really, when it is, those times that are a little bit more difficult, but there are people around you who are all in relationships. That is not like a goal or an ideal to kind of achieve.
Yeah, that's so good. So off the back of that, do you think, what do you think a healthy single life looks like?
I think a healthy single life looks like running your own race and not looking at the people around you.
Yeah.
It's, I just kind of like you said as well, it's not a waiting period. Being single is not a waiting period. It's not a slog or something that you have to suffer through to then finally get to marriage. And I think for me and just for other people, when I was single, I know that I really held to the verse, like Hebrews 12, 1-2. It says, "Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders us and the sin that so easily entangles, but specifically, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing
so
on
good.
our eyes on Jesus." And I just think holding on to that, running your race, not worrying about what other people are doing around you, because then you can really just focus on the path that Jesus has for you and being more like him.
Yeah, that's so great.
I think just to add to that, a key thing to say would be Proverbs 17:17, which is, "A dear friend will love you no matter what, and a family sticks together through all kinds of trouble." So you're running your race, but ultimately you can't do that without friends and community.
Yeah.
So really that's what makes a good single life, is when you've got your pals and they stick to you like glue, and they run with you, they push you forward, they keep you going, because it is hard. Like there's a moment there you do get lonely. That, you know, the mindset is true, you do get lonely, and that's where friends and community are essential in your walk.
Yeah, I love that. So do you think, looking from kind of a biblical perspective, do you think singleness should be our aim over marriage?
It's a difficult question, because I don't think we should pick one over the other. I think there needs to be a mindset change in both.
Yeah, definitely.
So we need to change the mindset of singleness actually isn't the sad, lonely time. It's the time that you invest.
Yeah.
It's working hard. It's making sure that you're solidifying your community and your friendships. But then also on the flip side, marriage is romanticized. It's the be-all, end-all, and it's like the thing that we need to have in order to feel complete and whole, when actually, biblically, it says that you're going to have more troubles when you're in marriage than when you're not in marriage. So therefore, actually, we should stop romanticizing something that biblically tells us is not that ideal that we already know.
Definitely,
So-
definitely. And I think, you know, our lives are about following Jesus' teachings, not about whether we're married or single. Like, it's about following Jesus, and, you know, those other things, that's an extra thing. But the fact is that we are meant to just be following who he is and having that as our kind of like direction. You know, marriage or singleness is not something that we need to achieve. It's not a goal in our lives. And I think that, that kind of idea, like Amy said, that mindset just needs to be removed.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, because in 1 Corinthians 7, it does actually say, it is as explicit as to say, it is better not to marry. And when we elevate like marriage as the goal, or even something that we're entitled to, God has the one waiting for me out there somewhere. Actually, what that's actually idolatry, because we're putting something or someone in a place in our lives where only Jesus should sit. We're saying that I need to be in a relationship, or I need to be married in order to be whole. But let's remember that Jesus was single and Jesus was celibate all his life, and never has there been a more whole, a more fulfilled, and a more joyful person that's ever walked this planet.
That's incredible. I think as well, so often we can get so fixated on our dreams for the future that we can miss the opportunity and the responsibility that we have in the present today. And so we want to just leave you on that note. Hey, singleness is not a season of waiting on God, but of working on yourself. So why don't you now go in your groups with your friends, wherever you're at, and chat through some of these big questions as well, and see what sort of answers you come up with.